I'm Anil Kumar, and in this video, we'll try to understand what are pair of angles. Now, to begin with, let's understand what is an angle. That's the first thing. So normally, if I sketch something like this, we say that between these two lines, that is the angle, right? That is the angle. Now, how to describe it? In any angle, important things to note is that it has two arms. These are the two arms of an angle, and that is the vertex. So this point is called the vertex. Let me write down all these points. This point is called the vertex, right? This arm is called initial arm, and that arm is called terminating arm. So an angle has two arms, and these are joined at one point, which is called vertex. Normally, we may write vertex with letter O, right? It's not necessary. Capital letters are used to name an angle. And let's take a point on each arm. Let's call this point as A and the one on terminating as B. Now that mathematically is written with a symbol like this, which is kind of an angle as shown here, AOB. AOB. That is how you write an angle. Now you could write this also in a reverse order, kind of BOA. BOA, both are same. Both are same. They give you the same measurement. So when we say measurement, we also write a letter M here, which signify that we are talking about what is the measurement of this angle, right? So that M means what is the measurement of that angle. Okay. So if you have to increase the angle, what do? That terminating arm is moved further in a direction, right? So one direction is counterclockwise, like the one shown here. That is called counterclockwise. We could also decrease the angle. In that case, we'll bring it down. So we'll bring it down kind of like this, right? So this direction is called clockwise. So the terminating arm can move either counterclockwise or clockwise. Normally, we say when it moves clockwise, we say angle is positive or increasing, and when it moves clockwise, it is negative or decreasing, right? As you see it here. When these two sides exactly overlap, we get 0 degrees. So if you have a situation which is kind of like this, that's your initial arm, and let's say we start from here, and that's the other arm, right? At this point, we have 0 degrees. Now if I start moving it counterclockwise, the angle starts increasing, right? So it could be at different positions, correct? So these are kind of few different positions which it could take, and then it will eventually come back to the same position. Do you see that? So what we notice here is that the angle starts from 0, for example, start from 0 degrees, and when you make a full circle, it becomes, let's say it will end at 360 degrees. Well, if you see, 0 and 360 degrees means that terminating arm and initial arm coincide. Right? So at this position, both arms coincide. So practically we say 0 degrees is also equals to 360 degrees in any angle. Okay, one full circle, and we also call this as a full circle. So after a full circle, the angle will be again 0. So whenever we are doing the measurement of angle, normally it will be from 0 to 360 degrees, right? Now let's look into a few other important things about the angle. These are some important positions. Now, if I'm saying that it moves from 0 to 360, I can write like this. This position gives me 0 degrees, and this position is half of 360. So I write this as 180 degrees. So 180 degrees is that much. As far as half of 180 degrees is concerned, that much is called 90 degrees, and this is called right angles, 90 degrees. The position here, let me make a smaller circle, that much will be 180 plus 90, that is 270 degrees. And if I go further, move on, then that position could be 360 degrees. So 360 degrees and 0 degrees will always overlap. And then if I move my terminating arm further, I again start from 0 normally, right? There will be cases where we'll do more than 360 degrees, but for the time being, we'll just restrict ourselves to 360 degrees. Okay, so that is what you understand here. These angles have some special names. If the angle is less than 90 degrees, that means if the angle is less than 90 degrees, that means somewhere here, for example, in between 0 and 90, we call this as an acute angle. Okay, 90 degrees angle as shown here is called right angle. So let me write down. 90 degrees is right angle. If the angle is greater than 90 degrees, okay, for example, if the angle is kind of here, this angle here will be called obtuse angle. So if it is between 90 degrees and 180 degrees, it is called obtuse angle. Okay, let me use the symbol here for angle. Okay, and if the angle is greater than 180 degrees, that is to say, if it is from 180 degrees to 360 degrees, in that case, we call this as a reflex angle. So reflex angles are somewhere here, right? So this angle is a reflex angle. This angle starting from 0 is a reflex angle. So reflex angles are greater than 180 degrees. Now let's talk about pair of angles. So we can have a pair which could be like this. Let's say we have a pair. We are talking about some special pair of angles. Let us say we have two angles, so that if you place them side by side, then they form a right angle. In that case, we call this as a complementary pair. So if you put them side by side, then they may become 90 degrees, and then we call them complementary pair. For example, if this angle is 30 degrees and the other angle is 60 degrees, if you add them up, you get 90 degrees. So they form a right angle. So that is called complementary pair of angles. And that is, when we put them side by side, we refer to them as adjacent angles. So adjacent angles are the angles which are placed with a common arm, right? So they have a common arm. That is important to understand. Okay, so adjacent angles will have a common arm. Now there could be situations where when you put two angles side by side, you may actually land up with a straight line. If I put them side by side, and if you land up in this position where this is a straight line, In that case, we call them supplementary angles. For example, one side could be, let us say, 40 degrees and the other 140 degrees. So if you add them, you get 180 degrees. 180 degrees or a linear combination, right? So that kind of an combination is called supplementary angles. Now, based on this, let me ask you a few questions. If I have set of angles as 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 40 degrees, 140 degrees, and 120 degrees, right? What combinations can be used for complementary angles? You can write it down, right? Complementary angles. What combinations can be used for complementary and what combinations can be used for supplementary angles? As you can see, 60 plus 30 is complementary, so I could write this as one set, right? 30 degrees and 60 degrees. As far as supplementary is concerned, we have taken 40 and 140, but you could also use 120 degrees and 60 degrees. When you combine them, what do you get? You get 180 degrees, right? So these are supplementary angles. So in this exercise, what we have learned is that angles are formed by two arms which have a common point. This common point is called vertex. You can name an angle using points. All the points will be in capital letters. The symbol which is shown here is shown for angle. M, if written, means find the measurement of angle AOB. That's what it means. If I do not include M, it just means angle AOB. Now, angle AOB can be written in both the forms. You can also write this as angle BOA. Both are equal. Normally, if we increase the angle counterclockwise direction, then we are saying we are moving in a positive direction and the angle increases. If we move the arm in the clockwise direction, we say we are decreasing the angle, that is the negative direction. Initial arm is normally placed along a side kind of eastwards, you see, or on the coordinate plane along the positive x-axis. And as you move the terminating arm, the angle increases. If the angle is between 0 to 90 degrees, it is called an acute angle. If it is at 90 degrees, it is the right angle. Between 90 and 180, it is called obtuse angle. More than 180, we refer to this as reflex angle. Two or more angles can be combined. If their sum is 90 degrees, they are called complementary pairs. And if their sum is 180 degrees, they are called supplementary pairs. Remember one more thing. At times, we can have more than two to make 180. In that case, we'll find the sum of all three, right? So set of three can also make supplementary angles. The important thing is when you add the numbers of degrees, you get 180 degrees. Then it is supplementary. I hope with this you get good introduction about the angles. Now we will play around with them and try to understand. I'm Anil Kumar. You can always share and subscribe my videos. Thank you and all the best.